Real quick, before anything else, if you're new here, consider subscribing. It genuinely helps this channel grow, and honestly, it means a lot. And drop a comment down below with your take on today's topic, because I read every single one, and I want to know what you think by the end of this. Okay, let's get into it. You know that one friend. Everyone has one. The friend who never posts. Not a photo, not a story, not even a like on your birthday post. And somehow we've all decided the exact same thing about that person. They must be so secure, so mysterious, above all the noise, living some deep main character life the rest of us are too shallow to understand. Here's the problem. That story might be completely backwards, because the truth is, silence isn't always peace. Sometimes silence is fear, wearing a really good disguise. Think about it. We've built an entire culture where posting nothing gets read as confidence, and posting everything gets read as insecurity. But what if some of the quietest people online aren't detached at all? What if they're actually the most anxious people in the room, and staying invisible is the only thing keeping them safe? Today, we're going into the real psychology behind the people who never post. And I promise you, it's a lot darker, and a lot more relatable than they're just too cool for social media. Let's start with something almost nobody talks about, the spotlight effect. Here's the idea. Your brain genuinely believes people are watching you, judging you, analyzing you way more than they actually are. It's a total illusion. Studies on this go back decades, and the finding is always the same. People wildly overestimate how much attention others are paying to them. Now stack that illusion on top of social media, where a single post can sit there, permanently, waiting to be judged by literally anyone, forever. For some people, that's just background noise. But for people already wired toward anxiety, that spotlight doesn't feel like an illusion. It feels like a stage with harsh lighting and an audience that never leaves. So posting a photo isn't a simple, casual decision for everyone. For some people, it's closer to walking into a room and waiting to see if anyone laughs. And here's the twist. This isn't weakness. This is a nervous system doing exactly what it's designed to do when it senses a threat to how it's perceived. Psychologists call the reaction that follows an avoidance response. When something feels risky, your brain doesn't push you toward it, it pulls you away from it, fast, before you even consciously decide to. That's not confidence, that's protection. Now here's where it gets interesting, because there's a sociologist who called this exact dynamic almost 100 years before social media even existed. His name was Erving Goffman, and his theory is basically this. Every single one of us is always performing. Not lying necessarily, just managing. Managing how we come across. Think of it like a stage. You've got your front stage, the version of you the world sees, and your backstage, the messier, unfiltered version that only shows up when nobody's watching. Social media took that front stage and put it on steroids. Every photo, every caption, every angle is a tiny performance decision. For most people, that's manageable. But for people who already feel like their backstage self might not survive public scrutiny, refusing to perform at all can feel like the only safe option. Not posting isn't necessarily, I don't care what you think. Sometimes it's the exact opposite. It's, I care so much about what you think that I refuse to give you the material. And there's a second layer here too. A French philosopher named Michel Foucault described something called the panopticon, originally a prison design where inmates could be watched at any moment, but never knew exactly when. And here's the unsettling part. Just believing you might be watched is enough to change your behavior completely. Sound familiar? Because that's basically every social media platform ever built. So if silence can be fear, and constant posting can be performance, is there actually a healthy version of any of this? Because here's the twist coming up. Not everyone who avoids posting is anxious. Some people have figured out something the rest of us haven't, and the difference between those two groups is smaller than you'd think. Before we get into that, if this channel's been useful to you, hitting subscribe genuinely helps us keep making videos like this. And I'd love to know in the comments, are you a poster or a lurker? No judgment either way. I just want to see where this audience actually lands. Let's find out what separates fear from freedom. Here's the part that changes everything. There are two completely different reasons a person might stay off the grid, and from the outside, they look identical. Reason 1. Fear. Evaluation anxiety, spotlight effect, avoidance response, everything we just talked about. This person wants connection. They're just terrified of the risk that comes with it. Reason 2. Something much healthier. Actual autonomy. This person has simply stopped needing external validation to feel like their life is real. They're not avoiding judgment. They just genuinely don't require the applause. And here's the tricky part. Both groups produce the exact same result. An empty profile. No posts, no stories, total silence. From the outside, you cannot tell them apart. You literally cannot look at someone's blank profile and know whether you're looking at fear or freedom. This is actually where Foucault's panopticon idea gets even more interesting, because staying invisible in a surveillance system can be two completely different moves. It can be someone hiding from the gaze because they're afraid of it, or it can be someone who simply opted out of the entire game because they've realized the gaze never had any real power over them to begin with. Same silence, two entirely different inner worlds. So how do you actually tell the difference, especially in yourself? Here's a pretty reliable gut check. Ask yourself this. When you think about posting something, is the feeling that stops you dread, or is it just disinterest? Dread feels like your stomach tightening, rehearsing captions in your head that you'll never actually post, imagining exactly who might screenshot it, or judge it, or misread it. That's fear driving the silence. Disinterest feels completely different. It's closer to a shrug. You genuinely just don't feel like sharing, and the thought of not posting doesn't come with any tension attached at all. The goal was never to force yourself to post more. That's not the fix. The real fix is getting honest about which version of silence you're actually living in. Because if it's fear, that's worth paying attention to. Not because posting photos matters in some grand cosmic sense, but because a nervous system that's constantly bracing for judgment, even over something as small as a photo, is a nervous system that's working overtime in every other area of your life too. So here's what I want you to sit with. The quiet person who never posts isn't automatically the most confident person in the room. And they're definitely not automatically the most anxious one either. Silence can be freedom. Silence can be fear. And honestly, most of us are living somewhere in between the two, without ever really stopping to ask which one it is. The healthiest version of this was never about posting more or posting less. It was always about posting, or not posting, because you actually want to, instead of because some invisible audience in your head is holding you hostage. If this gave you a new way to think about your own relationship with sharing your life online, hit subscribe. It really does help this channel keep growing. And tell me honestly in the comments, are you staying quiet out of peace or out of fear? I read every single comment, and I'm genuinely curious how this splits. See you in the next one.